Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
Exploring faith and the future. Neil Johnson and Bible teacher Dr. Kameel Majdali.
We've been talking about conquering those worries and fears that sometimes plague our lives. Kameel, there is a sense, isn't there, that everyone faces worry and fear. We all have to get on top of this. We all have to make this our conquest because we're all faced with worry and fear, sometimes on a daily basis.
Neil, it is one of the great challenges of life, but it's a challenge we need to meet head on. After all, excuses for worry and fear are only going to increase in these crisis-riddled, change-filled times in which we live. If we don't get a grip now, what hope do we have in the future? And I do believe worry and fear is conquerable, because if we don't conquer it, it'll conquer us. But yes, it is universal. I've shared this before, but it bears repeating. There's common areas that people will worry and fear. Areas of finance is a big one. And with the global economy challenged and major Western economies in heavy debt, of course people are going to worry and fear about the economy. Presently, we hear about job losses in Australia because major industries are closing. I mean, people are probably not sleeping at night thinking about these issues. So finances is one. Relationship breakdown or dysfunction is another, because if you have conflict, particularly in your home, it is the worst of outcomes. At least if your conflict is outside the home and your home is peaceful, you have somewhere to go. It's a refuge. But when your home is in turmoil, where do you flee? There's also issues of personal health. And then there's also fear of the future. What does the future hold? Do I have a future? Younger people worry. Will they even have a world to live in when they finally marry and have children? They think the world's going to end before that happens. These are some of the common elements of universal worry and fear.
There is a sense, isn't there, in which as we all face worry and fear, some of us have a better way of putting up a facade and saying, I don't fear, but deep down there are issues that we all work through.
The thing about worry and fear, apart from the fact it's universal, and apart from the fact that it is outside the will of God for His children, is that there are, shall we say, actually more worry and fear than circumstances that warrant it. It's been estimated, I don't know how scientifically, but 90% of things we worry about never actually happen. Now think about it, Neil. What a waste of time, waste of resource, waste of joy or forfeiting of joy, worrying about things that are never going to happen. And even the things that do happen, if you handle in the right way, you will not be overcome by these things. You will actually overcome. We need to see that it's universal, but we also need to see that worry and fear is a waste of time.
And what about keys for overcoming worry and fear, Kameel? Where do you start if you are that person who is overwhelmed by a whole lot of circumstances, worried and fearful about what tomorrow might hold?
As one that was born a worrywart and had a strong propensity to worry for much of my early life, I learned one of the keys to overcoming worry and fear early. And that key comes from the New Testament epistle to the Philippians, chapter 4. Philippians 4, verses 6 and 7. And I learned this so early, and I put it into practice, and it really does work. Philippians 4, verses 6 and 7 has to do with prayer. And basically, I'm going to paraphrase it, although I can quote it. What is said there is, worry about nothing, pray about everything. I'll say it again. Worry about nothing, pray about everything. Now, you may or may not get an immediate response to your prayer, but I'll tell you what you will get an immediate response, and that's verse 7 of Philippians 4. It says that God's peace will guard your heart and mind in Christ. Neil, when you've got the peace of God in your heart and mind, you have already conquered worry and fear.
Faith and the Future with Neil Johnson and Dr. Kameel Majdali from Teach All Nations. Find articles, videos and podcasts from Dr. Kameel, plus today's and other episodes of Faith and the Future in the Vision app or at vision.org.au.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.